Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fourlane's webinar, our deep dive series. I am Denise Ortiz, a senior consultant here at Fourlane. Today, we're going to discuss multiple currencies in the QuickBooks Desktop. I'll do my best to answer any question at the end. Otherwise, I can get back to you after the webinar before the day's over if we don't get a chance to answer each one of your questions. So some of the things that we will be covering today is going to be multiple currencies. We're going to go through the setup, the list information, and then go through some transactions and reporting as well. So I will come over here to my QuickBooks file. So first we will need to enable this feature. So in order to do so, I will come through the Edit and Preferences. And I'll come down to multiple currency and then the company preferences tab. A very strong suggestion before you go any further at this point is to make a backup copy of your company file before you turn this on, as once it is turned on, you cannot turn it off. So if I flip over here to yes, I will get this warning. Super important to read what will once you turn this on, again, it's telling you that you cannot turn it off, and there will be some functions that you will lose. You will lose the cash flow hub, your insights tab, your income tracker, your bill tracker, create batch invoices, cannot delete or void transactions, the advanced feature of mileage. Okay. Some of the other important features that you will not be able to exchange information with QuickBooks Mac or copy your company file to work with it. Online payments does not work with multiple currencies, so that's one thing to keep in mind. And then the other feature, the feature if you're using prepayments from the sales order, that feature will not be enabled once multiple currencies is enabled. So before I made this change, I did make a backup copy. And then the next thing that we're wanting to do is choose our home currency. By default, we have more currencies that we can choose from. By default, we have the 4 most popular. And I'm going to choose US dollar as my home currency. Okay, so once we do that, one thing to note too, as the home currency, your reports will be based in that currency. So for example, US currency, all your reports will be based in the US dollar. So our next thing that we'll want to go through is organizing our list information. So up here in our list, it's still warming up. In our list, now we're going to see our currency list. So we do have a large selection of all the different currencies. They are all inactive. Simply, if one of these you will need, just simply make it active by removing the X. I'm going to narrow down our list here. So a few things that we can see, we have our currency, we have the codes that will be used, the exchange rate, and then the as of date. So in order to get the current exchange rate, down here in our activities tab is our download latest exchange rates. So QuickBooks does use the IHS market exchange rate, which is now the S&P Global for the FX rate exchanges. So one thing also to note is that this is a manual effort. QuickBooks does not automatically update the exchange rates daily. So if you are using it on a daily basis, that would be one of the first things that you would do once you're in QuickBooks, come into your currency list, and then update your currency exchanges. We can also see on this page that we have a couple of reports. We will have our realized and unrealized gain and loss reports. Additionally, we can also manually enter and change the currency exchange rates. So I'm going to take euro, for example. If I double click on it, I can come in here and I can change manually change the rate. So right now I have today's exchange rate and I want to add in yesterday's exchange rate. So I'm going to choose October 10th on our calendar. And right now I'm just going to put in 1.145. I do not know off the top of my head what yesterday's exchange rate is, so it doesn't go back. It will go current with uploading those exchange rates. So right here, I just manually entered it. And then we have a couple of formatting changes as well. So we can change where we want the thousand separator, what punctuation mark do we want to use, the digital group, how we want that represented, where do we want the decimal place, and then what is that punctuation for the decimal separator. Okay, so now that we have our currency list updated, we'll kind of continue using our euro through all of these examples. The next thing that we'll want to review as well is our customer list. So we have some customers already that were in here. And I'm going to take my webinar customer, for example. There are no transactions currently. If I double click to open that customer up, I can choose which currency I want that one customer to be. I'm going to leave this one at US dollar. But if we look at some of these other customers that did have transactions, we can see their default now is US dollar, and I cannot change those. So any existing customers in your system prior to the conversion, any transactions, those will be default to a your home base currency. So one thing to note that you will have when you're setting up your new customer, I'm going to call this one Euro customer. And I have the choice of which currency for them. I'm going to choose Euro. And then we also have to remember that if there are jobs under your customers, the jobs are going to represent your parent customer's currency. So say this job 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is going to be US currency based on the parent company. Also, one thing to note is if you have the same customer and they buy from a US base and maybe for a foreign base, you will have to set up two respective customers in its respective currencies. On the vendor side, very similar to the customer side. If there are any transactions, I'll take this widget vendor, for example, and it defaulted to US dollar. I will create a new vendor, Euro vendor, and I will choose which denomination this is going to be, Euro. Okay, similar thing. If you buy from the same vendor at a US based or a foreign base, you'll have to set up two respective vendors in their respective currency. The other list that we want to look at and to verify is our chart of accounts. So if I scoot this over, we can see since I made a customer in Euro, it created a Euro AR account, as well as I made a Euro vendor. It created the Euro payable account as well. Okay, if I scoot down as well, going to gain. So Once we have some transactions, we will also see a gain/loss account automatically created. Right now, we do not have any transactions. Okay. If we are also creating a bank account, maybe we have a bank account that does in euro dollars. I'm going to create a new bank account, and I will call this one Euro Bank, and I will choose the currency for that respective account. The other list that this can affect is the price level list. So one thing to keep in mind, I'm going to create a new price level. Now we have the currency for this price level. So one thing to note is if you have US dollar customers, you will need to create a price level in the US dollar. And then if you have any in the other currencies, you'll have to create its own separate price level. So in this example, I'm going to do a USD price tier 1 for our example. And the item I'm going to choose is our fountain grass. And the price level for this, I'm going to make this 10% lower than the standard price. So we can see QuickBooks automatically adjusted our price, and it's kind of off to the side, but it says customer price, and it's going to say US dollar. Okay. I'm going to say okay to this one, and I'm going to create the euro one for our example. Euro price tier 1. I'm going to choose our euro and that same fountain grass. And I'm also going to make this 10% lower than the standard price. And you can see now our column says custom price, and it's going to be euro. And it changed the standard price based on the FX rates at this time. And the next thing we'll want to do is assign those respective price levels to our respective customers. So back here on our customer center, Euro customer is going to get the Euro pricing tier. And I'm going to take this webinar customer and provide them the US price tier. And as you can see, since it is US dollar, I only have the choice of US pricing tier. So that's kind of the basic setup for some of our list information. So let's enter in a couple of transactions. From here, I'm going to enter in a bill. And right now, if we bypass this accounts payable, if I just decided to enter in euro vendor, QuickBooks will automatically default to the euro payable account. And I'm also going to say, based on the bill that I have, the euro vendor is charging me $100 for this particular service or product. And once I hit tab, QuickBooks will automatically convert what that's going to be in the US dollar. This is the dollar that's going to be represented on our aging reports. So from here, I'm going to choose an expense account. I'll choose advertising and marketing. And we can also see further down what is the exchange rate that QuickBooks is using. And it's using as of today's exchange rate, 1.148. Okay, I'm going to save this and say if I wanted to change the date to yesterday's date, I'll get that notice that's saying you're changing the date. There's different rates for that respective date. Okay, we'll have to come in and change the dollar amount. Okay, and since I made a little bit of a modification, it's saying what the new exchange rate is as of 6/10. Okay, so kind of line of sight education, making sure that You are updating your rates each day and following along, making sure that you have line of sight. Depending on the date, it's going to determine what that US dollar exchange is going to be. Okay, so from here, if we wanted to look at the debits and the credits, I can see accounts payable is going to get hit with $114, and advertising is $114.50. So far, no gain, no loss. No, thank you. All right, now if I wanted to come in here and I'm going to pay this bill, I'm going to leave this bill as of yesterday's date, and I'm going to pay it today. So making sure that we have the correct AP account selected, I'm going to choose to pay this vendor bill, and I'm going to choose to pay it as of today, 6/11. And we can see QuickBooks is defaulting down here at the bottom left corner, today's exchange rate. So I'm going to pay it out of my operating account. Okay. So now let's go and check out what does that look like on our payment. So if I come back to my bill, and I'm going to come to my transaction of the payment. Okay. Then I'm going to see my debits and my credits behind the scenes. Reports, transaction journal, and then I'm going to see my bank account was hit with $114.89 this time. And my accounts payable was hit with the $114.50, as that was the open AP balance per the euro. And now I'm getting hit with the exchange gain or loss, the 39 cents. So if I wanted to see it on my profit and loss, I can see as of today, I'm going to get posted with a 39-cent gain or loss. Okay, now with that, now let's kind of go over to the flip side. And we'll go to the customers. We'll create an invoice on the customer. And I'm going to choose my euro customer as well. And for this, so we can see what that exchange rate or loss looks like, I'm going to make this invoice as of 6/10. Going to tell me I have a different exchange rate. Okay, and then if I choose, say, my blue hydrangea and a line of sight, what this is going to do is take the price based on the item profile, the sales price field, and it converts that price on this invoice. So if your item profile is saying one item, and that may be in US dollar, upon the invoice, it will convert it to what that exchange rate is as of today. Okay, I can, if I needed to, override that price to what I am truly selling it for. Okay, and then I'm going to save this. So from here, I can see on my invoice, it's US dollar is going to get posted for $11.45 to my AR and my revenue, and euro is $10. So if I look at my debits and my credits, so I can see accounts receivable euro is getting hit with $11.45, that US amount. Sales is getting hit with the US dollar amount, $11.45. And then our inventory and our COGS is going to be based on our average cost. That's what I have this file set for, average costing. And that's what it's going to take in US dollars. Coming back into my invoice, we'll create a payment for this. Okay, so for my Euro customer, their invoice amount is $10, as that's what I had charged them. And I'm going to make this payment as of today, getting the warning it's a different rate. We have the option of seeing what those rates are. I'm going to choose to pay this. And we can see in the bottom right corner, it's paying the amount of $10, as that's what's in the Euro accounts receivable. But amount received is going to be $11.49 based on the USD exchange rate as of today. Okay, so if I hit save and new, and let me come back to this transaction, reports, transaction journal, seeing our debits and our credits. We can see our accounts receivable cleared for the $11.45, but our exchange rate that we realized is the 4 cents based on today's exchange rate. Okay, so line of sight, making it sure that it's super important that we update our rates daily if we are going to be using multiple currencies. Okay. Another thing that we want to look at, so that's the basis of the transactions. Now let's look at some of the reports. So on the reports for line of sight, as we looked earlier, profit and loss, we have our realized exchange gain or loss. Those are coming in based on when we receive payment is when we're going to be realizing that gain or loss. Then we also have our realized and unrealized reports. So realized reports going to tell us of the payments, the bill payment and the AR payment, what those individual transactions are for the exchange rates. And then we'll also be able to have an unrealized gain or loss report. With this one, we'll be able to choose the date that we want to see this by. So I'm going to choose today's date, the specific currency, and this is as of today's exchange rate. Okay, so right now I do not have any because we got payment. So let's pull that same report as of yesterday. So if I choose yesterday's date, now we have in here the AR and the AP side. Since they have not been paid as of the 10th, this is when we're seeing it as unrealized gain or loss. Okay. Some other reports just for line of sight. Our aging report, the AR aging summary. And let me change it as of yesterday because we did pay some of those invoices. So we will see our foreign currency customers on our aging report because it's looking at all of the accounts receivable GL accounts. And what we're also going to see it is this is US dollar. It's not going to be in the Euro currency that's owed. This is going to be the US dollar amount owed. We have the option, if we so choose, to filter for the accounts receivable. Maybe if you wanted to do one for each one respectively, you can choose those. Okay. The other one as well is going to be the vendors aging summary, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make it as of yesterday since today we made the payments. And then we see our Euro vendor. And again, same thing. We see it in US dollar. All of your reportings will be based as US dollar, and it's going to be based on that report date's exchange rates. So that's kind of one thing to keep in mind, that these numbers, it's a moving target because it's exchange rates. And also, I just wanted to kind of make a note on the bill side as well. Whether you're using the expense tab or the items tab, the same workflows happen, the exchange rates happen for whether it's an inventory item or just straight to a GL account item. So with that, I hope we did find some valuable nuggets of information today. I think we're out of time for any questions. If I see any questions that come through, I will be sure to get back to you on them. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.